welcome to another episode of Connected. Joining us today is Perry Hembury, the CEO of Volunteering Queensland, talking about volunteer work. After that, we have Francis Cassidy and Nolene McNamara. They're taking us away to the lifestyle of countryside wine tasting. Straight after that, we are heading out on location with Alex Rathke, showing us about a new trend in the health and fitness industry. Without skipping a beat, we're back into the studio with Tony Biancotti, and he's enlightening us on how social networking sites have changed the way we interact. And to finish off, local talent Bria and James Robinson will be playing an original piece. But first,
Moscow's Mighty Bolshoi Ballet is teaming up with the Queensland Symphony Orchestra for a diverse and technically demanding show in La Corsaire. For the first time in over 2 decades, this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity runs its limited season at QPAC from May 30 to June 5. A new exhibition showcasing contemporary Indigenous art from across the country will open at the Gallery of Modern Art from June 1 and run through until October. It's expected to be the gallery's largest ever collection of its kind and features paintings, sculptures, installations, video art and much more. The Brisbane International Jazz Festival is from May 31 to June 2. The inaugural festival is set to steam up those chilly winter days with an exciting lineup of international and Australian jazz artists set to get you grooving. It's also Italian Week this week with a number of events set to showcase Italy's rich culture, food and heritage around the region, including classes on the art of making pasta and a number of film presentations. And on the local music scene, Matt Corby hits up the Tivoli on June 1 and is set to bring the house down by playing tracks off his 5-time platinum EP, Into the Flame. His song entitled Brother won Song of the Year at the 2012 ARIA Awards. Don't forget to stay connected through our website and Facebook page for more events happening around southeast Queensland.
Well, joining us from Volunteering Queensland is Perry Hembury, CEO, discussing what volunteering is, the people it benefits and why people should be more involved. Thanks for joining us, Perry.
Thank you.
Well, just on that point, what is it in human nature that we want to volunteer?
Yes, it's a very interesting question, and I think many people respond when we ask these questions in a way that indicates they want to give back in some way to their society, to their community. Some will say that they just love their volunteer work, whatever that may be. Some will clearly align with a very strong cause or an organisation that they believe in, that they believe is doing wonderful work. I think no matter who's involved, however, there's a link, we believe, to, if you like, a sense of purpose in people's lives. We know that people enjoy their volunteer work much more when it's aligned to, the meaning that they derive from that work, the value that they put into that work. So yes, I think there are some profound, almost psychological aspects to that question that certainly, indicate that people do that volunteer for a whole range of reasons, a whole range of motivations. But I think it does come down, in some cases, to what purpose they have in their lives, what meaning they derive from it, and that varies from person to person. Many of people are, of course, in transition in their lives, and so the meaning is to do with where they are in their life, in their pathway in life. So
obviously, we're talking about from the younger people who understand, are willing to volunteer as much as the oldies.
Yes.
In Queensland, how many people would you have on your books and from research that actually volunteer?
Well, we know there's close to 1.2 million people volunteering in Queensland. So it's a high percentage of the population, as you can realise, and our own website that we use to match people to volunteer work is just the visible tip of that iceberg.
Which is a fascinating concept, isn't it? Because probably traditionally we tend to go to the organisation that we might feel drawn to.
Yes.
But you're really giving a kind of showcase where people can see the list of the possibilities of where you might want to volunteer.
Yes.
Give us a bit of distance from the organisation. Is that why people want to come to you?
It is. Some people will go straight to an organisation or a cause. That we find that particularly, say, in health-related volunteering, people will be drawn to an organisation where they themselves or a member of their family has had an illness of some sort. But there are many people in transition in their lives, especially, for example, from unemployment to work or from study to work, where they perhaps haven't got that clear idea of where they want to volunteer. So yeah, they can come to a website like ours and browse through thousands of jobs and get a sense as to where they might want to put their energy and their time.
So I guess just to wrap up, it's a way really for people to continue to feel they're able to contribute, whether that's in transition, as you're saying, between work and keeping skills up, or being able to give back into society. Then within Volunteering Queensland, within May having been volunteering month as well, I guess it's really put it on the agenda. The flood certainly did that. So we salute all the wonderful work that you do at Volunteering Queensland. It's a tremendous amount of work in pulling people together. So we thank you for that and for all of our volunteers that are here in the state.
That's what we're here for. Thank you, Ashley.
Thanks, Perry. And that's Perry Hembury, the CEO for Volunteering Queensland. For more information on how you can get more involved, visit the W's volunteeringqueensland.org.au. Next up, we hit the wineries and talk over communication between adults and teens. Stay with us. Welcome back, and now on Connected we're going travelling and to our local Queensland wineries on the Scenic Rim, and who better to ask than our tourism and travel gurus Frances Cassidy and Nolene McNamara. Good to have you back on the program.
Thank you, Ashley.
Frances, you took us to Vanuatu last time, then you got us rolling around here in the Scenic Rim. We probably typically think of Barossa Valley, Hunter Valley when we talk about wines, but the Scenic Rim?
Yep, the Scenic Rim, it is quite big and it's great, especially this time of year. There are about 8 wineries that you can visit, and some of them do have cottages and accommodation attached to them. So you can, have your lunch, have your wine tasting, go for a lovely stroll and a walk. And we do suggest, if you're going to make a big weekend of it, that you do stay overnight and don't drink and drive, obviously. But yeah, 8 wineries, so close. An hour from Brisbane, an hour and a half from the Gold Coast. I mean, that's very affordable, very easy to get there.
Absolutely. And of course, as the winter comes in, it's a beautiful place to be around the fireplace, that
exactly.
kind of stuff.
Sipping a glass of wine, having a conversation.
Nice. How civilised.
It is.
And Nolene, you've been also looking at this, or the two of you have been looking at this in terms of research. What's the focus of the research?
Well, actually, we're looking at whether wineries should charge for a wine tasting. We're really looking at what is consumers' expectations, whether consumers go to a cellar door, find a charge and then turn away, or just trying to find some consensus.
And is this a way of really sort of trying to help minimise some of the costs too? I mean, they've got to staff these venues.
That's
quite
true,
often.
isn't it? Yes. That will need staff. And I know over the years some of the wine growers were a little bit upset that they had to leave their vines and come and open the cellar door. And it was basically a hit and miss whether they were open when they're supposed to be or whether they were working. So if you were charged $20 to go to a cellar door wine tasting, would you stay and have a wine tasting? And that's what we're looking at, Nolene, isn't it? Oh, and what would you like included?
Yes.
So this serious research, I had to smile when you told me what you were doing.
Well, this is a little distraction from our more serious research.
That's right, yes. But look, nevertheless, it's going to inform the industry, obviously.
Yes. I mean, it's important for the industry to know what consumers think. And also we're looking at whether there should be consensus within one wine district, so if everyone should charge. Like, for example, in some of the areas in New Zealand, in Marlborough, a lot of the producers will charge.
Okay. So there is a precedent for it, and it's really just to see whether the market here will really take on and accept it.
And if the consumers are happy to pay it. The other thing is too, if you're having a wine tasting, would you like to have cheese and crackers with it? I mean, if that's included, you might be quite happy to pay for that.
Yeah, sure.
And then if some of them are like $20 for wine tasting, well, you might say, well, hold on a minute, I'm happy to pay that, but if I pay it and I buy wine, can that be deducted from the cost of the wine?
Okay, so there's some different models you'll be exploring. So just quickly then, how do people participate in this research?
Don't like how you say that.
No, it's wonderful. So how can people get involved?
We have a survey on the internet through SurveyMonkey, and I understand you're going to put the...
We'll put that
we have
up
the link
for
up there, SurveyMonkey cellar doors. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so
and we've got some responses already, but we're after more.
Okay, fantastic. So people can get online and fill out that information.
And it's totally anonymous.
Okay,
too, so.
sure. So the link is up on the screen for you. So make sure you do take that down and get involved. It'll be up on our website as well. And the research will go over for a period of time?
Yes, it will.
Yes.
It's going for a couple of months yet,
Okay, great.
and then we'll be writing journal articles about the findings. Yes.
Okay, well, all the very best with that, and thanks for updating us on what's happening on the wine front.
Thank you very
Okay,
much,
thank
Ashley.
you.
Okay, Nolene McNamara and Francis Cassidy joining us there. If you'd like more information on planning a wine tasting trip, visit scenicrimwines.com.au, and don't forget to go and follow the link and help the research, as we've told you about that before. I don't know about the rest of you, but I have to drive home, so it's time for us to move away from all the wineries and join Alex Rathke on location. Alex represents one of the 30 top teams in the Australian CrossFit scene and is sharing his time to tell us how the emerging sport is making its mark on the local community.
It's a strength and conditioning program designed for everyone to get them living a better life, getting them moving better, getting mobility and range of motion in joints. So we do gymnastic workouts, we do barbell workouts with weights, dumbbells, kettlebells, skipping, rowing, running, jumping. So anything you do in real life, we do a lot of those movements. So to get everyone just moving better and living a better life. We also do nutrition and everything like that. So it's a really good family community. Everyone gets in, everyone knows each other. As we do group classes, so everyone knows each other, everyone gets along, everyone's friends on Facebook and they hang out with each other and stuff like that. So it's a really big community aspect. Everyone's in together. It can be competitive, it can be just for your normal average Joe wanting to be healthy and fit. Yeah. So CrossFit's grown tremendously in Ipswich. 2 years ago there was only one affiliate in Ipswich, and now there's four coming. There's 5 affiliates in the Ipswich region. So our team competed in the CrossFit Games Open, and we came 18th out of 100 teams in Australia to qualify in the top 30 to go to the regional event. So we can compete to qualify for the CrossFit Games. So yeah, there's a huge community aspect here. Everyone really supports us, and we come in and our team does our separate training as well as the normal training of the gym, and yeah, we try and get out and be outstanding people of the community, get people into it, and especially the women, they get asked a lot, like, what do you do for fitness, like, why do you look so good? And they say, oh, we do CrossFit, and people want to come do CrossFit and stuff like that. So the people always approach you and ask you what you're doing because you look good and you look fit and strong and stuff like that. So yeah. Well, it's grown exponentially over the last 2 years. So seeing that, I mean, it's going to be massive. Who knows how far it's going to get? No one ever thought it was going to get that big, but it's who knows? It's immeasurable. There's just going to be so much growth, so many people want to do it. 'Cause everyone's heard of it now. It's been on ESPN and stuff like that. So nearly everyone you see has heard of CrossFit in some way. So yeah, it's going to be, everyone's going to be doing it. Everyone's going to know it. So it's good. So we're starting CrossFit Kids program. So that's taking it from kids, 3-year-old kids, to elderlies that train a 75-year-old man. He has a knee reconstruction and a pacemaker and everything like that, and he can do the same workout as super fit athlete can. It just, we scale it down so he can do the same movements, working the same muscle groups, but still getting the same effect out of the workout. But there's four gyms around the region, all in the local region. We train at CrossFit Western Front. We have quite a few members. We have a couple of really good coaches, so myself and Brandon, the quite qualified coaches, really know what we're talking about. So yeah, if you'd like to come in, have a go, have a look at CrossFit, you can jump on the website and download a waiver and pop in crossfitwesternfront.com, or you can ring the number 0426 954 167.
Stay with us after the break. Tony Biancotti and Bria and James Robinson are joining us. Technology has changed the way we all interact, and this causes conflict between the ever-expanding generation gaps that exist. Joining us to talk on the topic is Tony Biancotti, a business communications consultant. How are you, Tony?
Really well, thanks.
That's good. Well, maybe I should have texted you or something to check and see how you're feeling. But what are you finding in the marketplace, probably in the business sector, firstly, in terms of how people are coping through different generations with the use of technology?
It's amazing the conflict between the different generations, because the more mature generation, they often think that the younger generation is sloppy and unprofessional, and the younger generation often thinks that the more mature people in the workforce are out of date and old-fashioned and not relevant. And the dividing line, in my opinion, is when electronic mail came in about 1993. Because people before that, they used to actually have to type out letters, even if they did it on word processors, and physically post them. Whereas with the email generation, everything's faster, everything's about speed and efficiency, rather than the previous generation, where it's all about being correct and proper and etiquette.
That's absolutely right. And of course, with the abbreviations, do you find that the older generation really struggle with OMG?
Definitely, yes. The abbreviations are often, once again, a big dividing line between the two generations. And the older generations, they were taught to write out full words. The younger generation, with the technology, they have to be short, they have to be brief. Therefore, abbreviations are part of it. And there are so many conflicts and misunderstandings. I'll just give you a quick example.
Please.
Where someone sent a message and it said, "I resent the F up." And, the audience just responded terribly to that, "I resent the F up." What the writer meant to say was, "I resent the follow-up." F up stood for follow-up, but if you see resent the F up, you think something else. And so one of the things we do in business is talk about, okay, sometimes it's important to write out the full word, never use F up. And even with resent, if it's to do something again, you put RE hyphen. So it's these little things make a big difference and avoid a lot of embarrassment.
But just in general society, away from just business too, Tony, though, do you think that there's so much of a kind of almost like an assumption that we should all know what the abbreviations mean? There
is an assumption that you're supposed to know what these abbreviations mean. I should mention though that some people from the more mature generations do know what the abbreviations are.
So they're not all dinosaurs or Luddites.
But they change too, abbreviations change. And what's amazing is that the younger generation thinks the older generation isn't up to speed because they don't know the abbreviations. The older generation, once again, looks down upon the younger generation because they don't write the full words. So it's, there is a conflict.
So do you see that there's some way to heal the rift, or what do you see going forward?
I think it's understanding the other generation and whatever their needs are. I think the older generation should become aware of what the abbreviations stand for. And there are so many glossaries you can get to find out what these things mean. And once again, the younger generation should be tolerant of the older generation's ways, and also be prepared to write out words in full if their audience is from that other generation. It's all about considering your audience.
That sounds very good advice, and we'll check out some of those glossaries and maybe pass them around to a few of those Luddites that we know.
Definitely, they help.
Thanks very much, Tony. That's Tony Biancotti. We're almost at the end of the show, so please stay with us because we've saved the best for last. We now have a special performance from Bria and James Robinson, a local band that will be performing an original piece of their own. Upcoming brother-sister duo, James and Bria Robinson. Thanks for joining us.
No worries. Thanks, Ashley.
And James, what's the current scene for you guys? I understand an EP is in the offering.
Yeah, so Bria and I have been playing together for about 12 months now. So we're working on an EP. We're going into the studio mid-year and looking to release in the second half of the year. We're also doing a lot of local gigs up at the Sunshine Coast where we're based, so around Coolum, We've played on Noosa Community Radio a couple of times in the last month, and also local restaurants and parties and things like
Great.
that. Yeah.
So how would you describe your style of music?
Very much. It is a little bit difficult because we sort of try and take the best of a lot of different genres and combine them together. So the overarching description that we give people when they ask us this is easy listening, but it brings in influences from everything from Eva Cassidy to Adele, Angus and Julia Stone, Amos Lee, Elton John. So there's a few eclectic artists in there that we draw from.
Sure, that's fantastic.
We're influenced by culture as well. So we have the African djembe and the Native American flute. So we like experimenting with different sounds.
So that's the Native American flute there.
Okay. Yeah. And I guess that really keeps things quite interesting, doesn't it, for the listening public to be able to see different styles and different instruments being used.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's great. So the EP, just quickly, when will that be released, do you expect?
In the second half of this year.
Yep. Okay. So you have a website?
It's coming. Currently brianjames.com.
Yes.
And also Facebook, Brian James. So look that up, and all our stuff's up there, and gigging dates and things like that. All our information. So.
Okay, where to find you? Well, let you take position to entertain us. Well, make sure that you do check out jamesandbree.com, and you can check out them too, of course, up around the Sunshine Coast. But we've got them here for you on Connected, and here they are.
Mister, take your magic carpet for a ride. Far from the troubles of your mind. High above the mountain peaks you'll climb. Hey, mister, take your magic carpet for a ride. Far from the troubles of your mind. High above the mountain peaks you'll climb. Like a whisper in the wind, your dreams will come around again. Ooh. Moments that you thought were lost will be diamonds in your heart. Rose trees take root along the battlefield where kings war. They war for the treasure of the earth. Peace to those who hear the sparrows cry. La da da. Take your magic carpet for a ride. Far from the troubles of your mind. High above the mountain. mountain peaks you climb.
Well, thanks, Bree and James. It was fantastic. If you'd like to know more about the duo's music or anything else you've seen on the show, please check it out on the Connected website. Thanks again to Perry, Francis, Nolene, Alex, Tony, and of course Bree and James for coming in and sharing the stories, and of course that fantastic music we just enjoyed. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for on the program. We look forward to you being with us around next time, and until then, stay connected.